I would like to invite for inaugural address Shri Aseem Arun, Honourable Minister of State Independent Charge Social Welfare Department, Government of UP. Please, sir, join us.
Thank you very much. I welcome all the participants to this lovely gathering where we have come together to discuss the very crucial issue of aging with dignity. And I really appreciate the topic, challenges, opportunities, and innovations in policy and practice. The keyword here is policy and practice, and I'm sure today's and tomorrow's conference will help us bring policy and practice closer together, and that is something which is very close to my heart and critically important. So welcome everyone to this lovely conference, particularly on the dais, Professor Uday Shankar Mishra ji. Very warm welcome to you, my felicitations. Professor Mala Kapoor Shankar Das ji, welcome to you to Lucknow ma'am. Professor Ajit Kumar Pandey ji, Shri Rajiv Kapoor sir, who was Director of the National Academy of Administration just when I completed my foundation course and left, and then sir joined as a faculty member at the time and subsequently as a director. Professor Sanjay Singh ji, thank you so much for making me a part of it, for giving this important opportunity. Dr. Animesh Roy ji, Dr. Neetu Batra ji, thank you very much for making me a part of this. As I understand, the Giri Institute of Development Studies has a glorious past. It's an old institution, but it's a very lively institution. And all the detailed, intricate research on development issues that the Giri Institute has done is a great contribution to the country and in particular to our state. But today we have taken a different and a very ambitious challenge. Pradhan Mantri Modi ji has taken up a challenge not only for himself but for the entire country, for each one of us, that we have to make our country Bharat, a Viksit Bharat by 2047. No small challenge by all means, but it is certainly doable. It is not an impossible one. And for that, I keep repeating, to become a Viksit Bharat, to become a Vishwa Guru, we must first become a Vishwa Shishya. As we become good learners, then there is a possibility of our becoming good teachers also. So this session, and I could see in this souvenir, wonderful synopsis are given. The topics chosen are so widespread, all-encompassing, and also in-depth at the same time. I'm sure this conference will take us a long way. We are, for the country, pursuing a $5 trillion dream. For Uttar Pradesh, about 1/5 of that, we are pursuing a $1 trillion dream. Now, when we set out to do this and we achieve the dream, and it is only a statistical realization that the GDP or the SDP has grown to $1 trillion. How? Because some businesses have done well, some people with more capital in their hands have done well, and the bottom line is 1 trillion. That's one situation. But at the same time, the situation could be that the people at the bottom rung of the ladder, the economic ladder, get left behind. So while we are on a growth curve, do we want a situation where disparities increase? Obviously not. We want a situation where disparities are bridged. And that is what the entire development studies, the entire process of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas moves. And as I would like to say, डबल इंजन की सरकार में गार्ड का डिब्बा भी है. So गार्ड के डिब्बे का काम है to ensure that nobody is left behind, no compartment is left behind, everybody goes along. Now for the $1 trillion dream, we need to grow 4 times. That is, people at the lowest economic rung must grow by at least 4 times. Or if we have to bridge the gap, they must grow by 5 times or 6 times. No small challenge by all means, but it is certainly doable. And for that, the critical element that was mentioned here today in innovations in policy and practice. So policy has to be rooted in the ground situation. And policy also has to understand the limitations of practitioners. When I was doing my MA in public policy from University of British Columbia, I realized what exactly this means. Virtually every professor who was teaching me, the institute was more about global affairs actually, so was a part of one of their foreign office committees. So professor who is a Korea expert is also in a committee of their Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which the section which deals with Korea is actively advised by one of our professors who keeps visiting or writes papers for them. This is something which uh, is a great lesson for me. I'm sure you must already be aware of that. But this integration has to be very deep because practitioners often do not have the time to go deep into research. And that is where researchers, academicians like yourselves, have a great role. I'm sure today and tomorrow we will look at experiences from across the world, from across the states, and we will be able to understand what others are doing well. And in terms of practice, if I talk about UP or my own domain, social welfare, which also deals with care for senior citizens, we would be making, we would have taken some steps forward. We're, it's not that we're making a fresh beginning. Quite a lot has already been done. We have the Atal Vayo Abhyuday Yojana, which is an umbrella scheme dealing with senior citizens to take care of their important needs. The government of India has also initiated a very important scheme called Rashtriya Vayoshri Yojana. So this is about providing physical aids, assisted living devices to senior citizens. And as I speak in Prayagraj, in Kumbh, we have set up a stall where people are getting tested for hearing, for vision, for dental issues also, and they are getting assistance there free of cost. But that's by way of Kumbh because so many people have congregated and we are taking that opportunity. But apart from that, this is a continuous exercise which moves very well. Then there's this important scheme which is beautifully named Sacred, Senior Able Citizens for Re-employment in Dignity. Now, this is where quite a lot needs to be done. Re-employed and with dignity. Now, it's not that government or the society always needs to support the senior citizens. Yes, some senior citizens do need support, but most don't actually need our support. They need dignity, they need respect from us, and they need integration with the society. I'm reminded of a very interesting exposure I had about 4 or 5 months ago. The ambassador from Denmark in India was visiting Lucknow and happened to meet him. Now, he said that I'm retiring now and I'll take up a new assignment in the private sector. So I asked him that what is the age of retirement for diplomats in Denmark? He was a career diplomat. So he said, no, in Denmark, for any kind of government service, there is no retirement age because we feel that is discrimination on the base of a number. So that was a very new concept for me because here we understand 58, 60, 65. We have a number where we decide, okay, now we're done with you. It's time for you to retire. But this is a absolutely new concept for me, at least. I'm sure you might be aware. But we need to look at this concept. Can this apply to us as well? Can it not apply to us? But yes, if you look at it, yes, it is discrimination. Just because you crossed a particular date, you become ineligible to work in a situation. A very interesting concept for me. Similarly, we have an interesting scheme called Aggressor Action Groups aimed at social reconstruction. Now, this is about elderly self-help groups. The women's self-help groups have done extremely well, and going by that experience, we are now extending the same arrangement to the elderly. We also have a national helpline for senior citizens. It's a very easy to use number 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each of the states operated here in Lucknow in our directorate, Samaj Kalyan Nideshalaya. We have a command center where this, if you call this number, it lands here. It's a 24-hour helpline. And most recently, Modi ji has announced, and it's now been implemented also. We are issuing Ayushman card to every senior citizen above the age of 70, irrespective of age criteria. These are very important things which have taken the cause forward. The state of UP has created a senior citizens board, Varisht Nagrik Kalyan Parishad, which I head, and they are very important senior citizens in that. More importantly, doctors, real estate experts working on these issues who are part of that. My mistake that I should have invited more people from the board today. Anamika is part of that, but as soon as I step out of the conference, I will send a message to my colleagues on the board that it's a 2-day conference. For some of the sessions, we may have more friends from the practitioner side. And as I understand, are we transmitting this conference live on Zoom or something, as I can see? So if I could have the link, quite a lot of people who are not actually able to manage the logistics, who are not in Lucknow, could also join. I could bring them on board. Our departmental officers are also quite busy specializing in different fields. And officers themselves have chosen some area of expertise which they must become global experts in. Senior citizens issues is a very important field. Many of our officers have chosen that field and are specializing. I will suggest they too join online, or if they are in Lucknow, they will also come very quickly for this. Now, I see a couple of very big opportunities, and with that, I will close my address. The senior citizens in India, elsewhere, need a very large number of caregivers. And caregiving is a very serious profession. In Lucknow, particularly in Aliganj, or let's say Gomti Nagar or Indira Nagar, there are large number of retired people, just couples or maybe in a single family now, members staying there because the children are in some other place. Perfectly normal issue, But these families need caregivers, full-time or part-time. Some companies, some hospitals are doing that, but there is a gap. If you ask any senior citizen that are you able to find a reliable, trained, and at the same time, police verified caregiver, because this will be somebody who will be part of the household. So they need to be carefully verified by the police and maybe other agencies. This is a big gap, and it's an employment opportunity at the same time, and also an opportunity to serve senior citizens. In North America and Europe, a very large number of people are moving from particularly Philippines as caregivers. Now, Philippines, like us, has a very large English-speaking population. So they were quick on this take. They understood what the requirements of the Western world was. They trained the people. They even trained the people how to drive cars. They trained the people how to handle the banking system. So these caregivers are, given an opportunity to go to these countries, and it's very easy to get a visa on this ground because they need these people. So Filipino caregivers are a great phenomenon. We need to learn from Philippines, small country by our standards. But when we learn this and we have a large caregiving workforce, we will be addressing our own needs and we would be helping out the rest of the world as well. Another challenge or maybe a problem in future. At this moment, we are reaping the benefits of demography, of a very young population. But as the generation would change, maybe by the next generation, the young population would be shrinking and the older population would be growing. So we have to learn from societies which are already in this situation. And here again, our caregiving population, and also the second issue which I want to touch upon is the senior citizens living, not just the vridhashram which my department runs. They are basically meant for destitute senior citizens. But what about specialist senior living facilities for the middle class, for people who can afford more? This arrangement has been there in the country. A very important and successful example is close to us, Dehradun, Max Hospital family. They set up a facility called Max Antara. But it's prohibitively expensive. I've been to the place. It's, I mean, one BHK or maybe just a studio apartment cost 4 crore rupees. And then for every service, you have to pay more. So very, very expensive arrangement. That company, having learned from this experience, has already now set up another facility in Sector 150 Noida, right next to Greater Noida. When I was interacting with this group, they shared very interesting insights. They said that we've been doing this, and we did it in Noida as well, that now senior citizens tell us that we don't want a completely separate living facility. So in Gurgaon, the same group is now working on a new arrangement where, for example, I'm not sure about the number, there are 10 towers. So 8 towers are for families, usual families, and 2 are for specialist senior living. So they are very much part of the community. There are people who can pay, who can afford, but they don't want to be alienated or set aside in a separate quarters. Again, a very important learning. So I'm sure we need to work on this. I could not see a session on this in today's and tomorrow's discussions, but we could discuss these issues. And this, again, if we work on this now, it is an opportunity, and we would have created an infrastructure for 30 years beyond, when we would be needing those facilities. Thailand and a number of Caribbean countries, number of South American nations have done this. They have created senior living facilities. So people in the developed world are selling their villas or houses for $1 million. They're buying a facility or renting a property in one of these places. So they have huge bank accounts, bank balances now. And at the same time, they're living in a place which has better weather and cheap labor. This is a very interesting economic transaction which is happening in the world. But I don't think anyone in India has done that yet. This is, again, a very big opportunity. So for the next 30 years, we could be servicing the seniors in other countries. And then when our senior population grows, we will be servicing our own seniors, people like me, 25 or 30 years hence. So very interesting things happening across the world. I'm really grateful again to Dr. Sanjay Singh ji, Shiraji Kapoor ji, everyone at GIDS for giving me this opportunity, giving Samaj Kalyan Ministry this opportunity. Thank you so much. Have a great series of interactions, and I'm sure we would be producing some kind of a document after this. If Dr. Sanjay ji, that could be shared with us, we would benefit immensely. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.